What would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night and someone was standing in the corner of your room watching you and then vanished without a trace? I hadn't seen Tom in years. We were old high school friends who kept in touch on Instagram but hadn't spoken in forever. I was visiting Austin, Texas, and when he saw my story, he messaged me. Turns out he lived just an hour outside the city. On my way home to Louisiana, he invited me to stop by. Why not, right? His place looked like something out of an old western. Not run down, just aged. The porch creaked, the air smelled like wood and something rustic, like a cabin buried in the woods. When he opened the door, he pulled me into a big hug. Some friendships just pick up where they left off. Inside, it felt like a time capsule from the 70s. We sank into old furniture, poured some whiskey, and swapped stories like no time had passed. One drink became two, two became four. Eventually, the world spun just enough for him to say, "You got a long drive, man. Crash here." I agreed. I asked if I could take the couch, but he offered the spare room. "It's nothing fancy," he said, "but it's better than that lumpy couch." He wasn't wrong. He led me down a narrow hallway and opened the door to a room that felt still, like no one had breathed in it for years. I was too drunk to notice much. The bed caught me like a trap and I was out. Until I wasn't. I woke up hours later, head spinning, throat dry. The moonlight barely crept through the blinds. And then I saw it. Something was hanging on the closet door in the corner. My brain told me it was a coat, a long black trench coat, maybe on a coat rack. But something felt off. It had shape. Too much shape. Broad shoulders, a human outline. It didn't hang like fabric. It loomed like a shadow. My chest tightened. I didn't remember seeing it when I stumbled into bed. But I was drunk, maybe I missed it. I turned away, tried to ignore it. Just a coat, just shadows. I told myself that over and over. Still, I couldn't help it. I looked again, it was still there. I squeezed my eyes shut, took a deep breath, and forced myself to sleep. At least until I heard it. A slow, careful, creaking sound, like footsteps on an old wooden floor. My eyes snapped open. It was just before dawn. The room was lit enough now to see. I turned my head toward the corner, and the coat was gone. I sat up so fast my head spun. My heart pounded like a drum inside my chest. The corner was empty. The closet door was closed. I rushed to Tom's room, still drunk and full of dread. He was out cold, snoring. I shook him until he finally stirred. "The coat," I said. "The one in the room, it was hanging there. It looked like a person." He blinked at me, confused. "What coat?" "The black trench coat on the closet door. It wasn't just a coat, it had shape. It was..." I stopped myself. He sat up. "I don't even own a trench coat," he said. "And there's no coat rack in that room." I stared at him, waiting for the smirk, waiting for him to say, "Gotcha." But his face stayed serious. "Come look," I said. We walked to the room. I pointed. "Right there, that's where it was." Tom scratched his head. "You sure you weren't dreaming?" "I know what I saw," I whispered. "I woke up. It was there. I fell asleep again. Then it was gone." We stood there in silence, the kind that presses in on your ears. Tom finally sighed. "Let's check the house, just in case." We searched everything, every room, every closet, every door and window. Nothing. No coat. No sign of anyone. Eventually, Tom tried to convince me it was just a dream. Maybe it was, but maybe not. As soon as the sun was fully up, I grabbed my stuff and left. I didn't want to leave him alone, but I also didn't want to stay. The whole drive home, that image kept haunting me, that shadow in the corner, standing perfectly still, watching, and the fact that it vanished. Maybe it was a prank Tom never admitted to. But what if it wasn't? What if someone had been in that room silently watching me sleep and just left before the morning?